Daniel Stepp. This is my Physics 2 Lab 2 lab report. Okay, let's get started. Introduction. The purpose of this lab was to test different charges on tape. We're going to run it through a model which finds the point charge at different points of the tape to estimate kind of how much charge is required for the tape to be suspended by the charge and gravity. The fundamental physics principles we used were mainly Newton's third law, that every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. And we also used Coulomb's law of F equals K Q1 Q2 over R squared. We also used just electric field as well. So here's a little sneak peek at the results. You can see the red symbolizes the top tape, the blue represents the bottom tape, and then we have the electric force symbolized by the yellow line symbolized by the white line, and the yellow line symbolizes the force of gravity, and how they cancel out to be zero. Experiment. So we have the systems and the surrounding. The system would have been the top piece of tape, and the surroundings include gravity and the charge on the bottom piece of tape, the charge from the bottom piece of tape onto the top piece of tape. The initial conditions were that gravity is acting on it, and a couple charges are acting on it as well. Some of the details, just that the charge kind of is in a line. There's multiple charges, and I'll show the results in a minute. So yeah, that was the main change that we made from this lab compared to the other lab, is that in this lab, as we can see in the little sneak peek of the results, we're using the fact that there's not just one charge acting on the object, but multiple charges, which should increase the accuracy. That's what we're trying to figure out. Here's some coding that I did. Just fiddled around with my keyboard until I came up with this. I have a function that takes in a charged particle in the observation location, and then it will run the numbers and find the electric field at that part. So with some handy dandy code that was generously given to me by the TAs, starter code, I was able to write out kind of a function that would map out the electric field along this line. And here again is the results that we got. So you can see that the magnitude of the electric force and the magnitude of gravitational force are very similar. And yeah, so some potential errors, we're not super accurate with everything. A lot of the distances we used could have been a little bit different. We had a lot of potential errors, here and there, from things not being measured precisely, code running slightly inaccurately, not accounting for everything, air resistance, the difference in charges. There's a lot of potential errors that could have led to this, but overall it was a pretty accurate result. What if we had modeled each of our tapes as a single point charge? That's what we did in the previous lab, and we had a less of a charge in that scenario because you're only counting for one charge instead of multiple charges. Yeah, so they differ because one uses one charge, one uses multiple charges. The one that we just did should be more accurate because that is how physics works. Typically, the more accurate things have more complex things going on in them. But yeah, it was a great time. I enjoyed it all. And I hope you enjoyed listening to the lab, because guess what? Thank you. The lab 2 lab report is finished. And thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Daniel Stepp, and I hope I finished everything on the rubric. See ya.